You're watching the Eternal Tournament Series.
Hello, folks. Welcome back to round 6 of the ETS. We're here with Bradykin versus ECV. Oh, whoop, that's actually wrong. And Bradykin versus ECV, Vodakin combo versus TJP Chalice, and I'm joined here by Sir Rhino.
Hello. So yeah, we'll be taking a look at ECV again, who we just saw win the last round with his TJP Chalice list, going up against Bradykin, who we saw, I believe, 2 rounds ago as the backup match. He was just going off with his Voda combo deck. So we'll get to see how that deck develops in the early game rather than just the end result, which is draw your entire deck, blow up your opponent's board, and swing for 100,000 damage.
Yeah, it's the battle of the late game decks. Neither one of these decks has a huge amount of overall finishing potential, but not as much on the lower end interaction. They tend to do a lot of silencing, permafrost, that kind of thing is going to help out the TJP Chalice deck. But Voda combo, if it can dodge enough of that removal, can really go off in a way that's going to be pretty hard for ECV to stop.
Yeah, Vodo combo just throws away interaction and just ups the threat density. Basically every piece in the deck is about just going off. This one is featuring some Combre Healer's main as well to help stall out, and some Vanquishes to pretend that you care about what your opponent's doing. But for the most part, it's combo pieces and Voice of the Speaker and Mystic Ascendant Vodacom. It's not quite all in as some of the other ones we've seen. There's no Combre Emissary, but still largely just get a lot of resources and get ahead, while the Chalice is actually trying to do the same thing, get a lot of resources and get ahead. So we'll see who can execute that plan the best.
Yeah, should be a pretty great game. And we're going straight into round 1. Bradykin with an opening hand that has 3 power in it and a decent chance of playing out Temple Scribe to get a little bit more. So overall, he's got a decent start, although those 2 Vodakins are a little bit slow for this particular style.
Yep. And it looks like ECV's just got good power to develop out here. No kind of card draw or anything, just a few answers, which aren't going to have targets for a while. So we're going to just sit back, relax, and watch as both players draw a bunch of cards every turn and hopefully not miss any. They're just hoping to not miss power drops.
Yeah, the Vanquish and the Harsh Rules are pretty good cards here because they allow ECV to answer the big threats out of Bradykin, which are Vodakins. Bradykin's 2 Vodakins aren't going to come out until later, but ECV's already got the answers for both of them. So unless Brady can put enough pressure on them, that's going to be a lot harder for him to deal with.
Right. Bradykin's going to ideally just be patient with these Vodacons, though. Wait until he finds a Seek Power or Find the Way so he can play Vodacon and then use Power and Find the Way and start drawing cards. I'm even a little surprised he decided to swing with the Voice of the Speaker here. I don't think it's even worth the 1 damage rather than just keeping it in play and drawing power. And looks like ECV agrees, trades the Scorpion Wasp here.
Yeah, at the very least, getting the Scorpion Wasp out of his hand gives him 1 less answer to Vodakin. He's going to Parliament here, so just keep on putting pressure on the board and force out answers that will basically free up his Vodakins for later.
Yep. So now ECV's got to decide, does he want to use a Vanquish here, match with his own Owl? There's options here. Opts to go with the Owl, and this may prompt Bradykin to respond with his own Vanquish here. And if that happens, maybe the Harsh Rule trigger will get pulled. We'll find out.
Yeah, Bradykin's Vanquish is pretty good against ECV's Owls. ECV doesn't really have that many things that are going to be above 4, except for basically anything that he plays Chalice on. So the Parliament Owls are actually probably one of the bigger threats in his deck. On the flip side, ECV's Vanquishes really need to be saved for the Vodakin. They might be used on this Sandstorm Titan, but the 2 Vodakins afterwards are going to be a tough deal if that happens.
Sandstorm Titan's an odd play here because you have the flyer, actually. Maybe Bradykin's thinking he's going to silence his Titan end of turn here, just to have a 5/6 on the ground and a 4/4 flyer. We'll be interested to see. I think ECV's just going to pull the trigger on Heart.
Yeah, you put that much meat on the board specifically so you can get the removal out. And now that that's gone, we're going to see a Vodakin into a Vanquish, and then a Vodakin into a Vanquish, and that'll be...
We might not necessarily see Vodakin here. I would be interested to see if Bradykin just drops.
Yeah, it's possible he saves them, but he's been pulling it out for a bit. Now that he has to protect, he's a little more likely to hold on to one. But I think if you've got 2, you definitely play one of them.
Yeah, now you can just save the other one. just the payoff here is huge if you somehow do untap with this Vodacon. I'd still find it interesting that he decided to play the
Yeah, ECV has an easy answer here, which he didn't take, actually. He temple scribed first. Oh, he has
he knew
the
the other
additional
undepleted power. Yeah, one of those was a banner. The other ones were seats. And
I wasn't sure if he played it already. He's going to play Sandstorm Titan next. This is a good plan. You want to save the other Vodacon for when you have Seek power available so that you can get the Vodacon started. And once that happens, things get a little bit better for you.
Seek power or protect.
Yep,
So,
we have Desert Marshal is going to silence the Mystic Ascendant. ECV is playing very similar to just a Combrei control deck at the moment. He hasn't actually drawn any Chalices, so it's kind of interesting that he's still holding his own against Bradykin's also Combrei control deck.
Well, Bradykin maybe Combrei control. The issue with that is that it doesn't have Harsh Rule, so ECV has total dictation over how this board is developed. And wow, Harsh Rule is an interesting draw here. It now means this protect is not really going to protect this Vodacon, but it means if ECV has to blow a Vanquish and a Harsh Rule to deal with this board, they're both going to be in top deck mode. Who draws the haymakers first, I guess, will be what it comes down to.
Now, which one's going to be the bigger card? ECV has less cards that can immediately impact the board in such a fantastic way, but because of the way that they have to set up, basically, like he can still draw Crystal and Chalices and then just have better top decks for the rest of the game.
Right.
Whereas Bradykin is looking for the big answers.
Yeah, ECV's got the Wisdom of the Elders in his deck. They both have 4 Temple Scribes and stuff like that. So really, it's just Bradykin, draws a large unit and plops it down and makes ECV have something.
Fair. Combrei Healer isn't really an answer here, and Ironthorn's going to keep developing power, which is going to help out with cards like Mystic Ascendant. It's going to help out with more Vodacons. It's going to help him get better Parliaments, too. And following that up with a Seraph, certainly, that's a rough deal.
Bradykin's already seen 2 Harsh Rules, so he's decided he's going to make his opponent find another one, jams down the Seraph relatively quickly there, and is going to start playing the lottery.
He has to throw the Vanquish here on Ironthorn. He doesn't really want to because, of course, Vodacon is a big deal, but Seraph just playing down units every turn is going to be also a big deal. So,
oof. Wow.
All right. Yeah, a fair bit of luck for ECV on this side. The 2/6 Warcry is not really an amazing influence on the board. It's nice to have those Warcries, but it's not as big of an influence as you want from Seraph. And ECV drawing into the silence immediately means that he's basically answered the Seraph pretty well.
Yeah, and opting to Healer the Grunt, I would have considered just using the Healer on the Seraph so I could attack. Lumen Defender comes down and makes all of these decisions a moot point.
Yep, just not quite the answer you're looking for. Great Parliament is an option. It certainly gives you 2 Flying Owls, which forces potential Harsh Rules out, could force out some Vanquishes. Seems unlikely to force Vanquish, but if you can get rid of some of those extra spells, then Mystic Ascendant is a little bit more cleared for landing.
I think that's ECV's 3rd Desert Marshal already. Something like that. Maybe I'm getting my game.
Yeah, ECV
these are some good draws from both players.
Pretty clearly in top deck mode. Mystic Ascendant's definitely going to help out here. I think Bradykin is favored, but ECV can still bring this back with a Harsh Rule.
Oh, he's got to decide how greedy he wants to get here, and he decides to rein it back in. He knows his opponent at least has 2 more rules.
Yeah,
so
like
he's got the
amongst other
threat.
things, Seraph can be played on 11, so I think he's probably good to go.
Yeah, I think a flying threat plus a Mystic Ascendant drawing you a card every is good enough. Although this is a little weird if you're not going to silence that 1/5 first.
Yeah,
and Bradykin recognizes.
I'm not sure you want to throw Desert Marshal on the Lumen Defender. It's quite possible. No. There's not actually that many cards that ECV really has that you want to silence, but making Mystic Ascendant a possible out for ECV would be not a good idea. So holding on to the Marshal seems safe here.
Plus your opponent plays Scorpion Wasp. I don't think there's a reason to put this Ascendant at risk, although now you have another one. Yeah, just a space and let your opponent figure out how to deal with this mess.
Yeah, a quadruple block kills the first Mystic Ascendant, which does somewhat limit options, but I think 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10,
actually
11,
does
12,
not.
13, he can't actually quadruple block without dying.
And also the quadruple block doesn't kill the Ascendant. It's only 7.
Oh, is it only one? Yeah, there's only one on the Fair enough.
Yeah.
It's only 7. So yeah, it looks like this pressure is more than enough. ECV has to draw a harsh rule, and then Bradykin has 2 harsh rule proof units, or at least like units that can rebuild a board after a rule. So I think Bradykin's in very, very strong top decks here.
Yep, this Owl's going to be lethal next turn if ECV doesn't find something, and I would say that Amber Acolyte doesn't really count as something in this spot.
Yep,
so
that's the round.
Yep, Bradykin takes that first game up
Score
1
1 for the
game, and now we go into
combo.
sideboarding.
Yeah.
All right, so both of these decks are. I suppose the Bradykin combo deck is slightly more linear, but they're both pretty rigid in like the pieces they need to keep in. It'll be interesting to see who tries to go. Like, are they both going to try and go over the top of each other here? If you're Bradykin, are you bringing in stuff like Harsh Rule? Or do you opt to bring in stuff like Valkyrie Enforcer and just actually have some extra flying threats that like silence thing?
Oh yeah, Valkyrie Enforcer as an aggressive play is pretty uncommon, but it is a card that dodges under Vanquish and just generally threatens the board in a way that's pretty nasty. If you can push more threats, that means that your opponent has less harsh rules. And since your goal as the Voda combo deck is to just play the really, really big threats after your opponent has spent all of his removal, anything you can do to pressure him early is actually really, really effective.
And yep, that looks to be what Bradykin's doing. It looks like he just clicked on those 4 enforcers, up the protect number to 4, and is going to hope to go on the plan of, I've got flyers, and you're going to have trouble dealing with them, especially with protect backup. That really leaves you to just needing Scorpion Wasps to deal with them.
Running the decays here helps too, but it looks like those might be leaving the board. We're not totally certain where it's all going to end up, but
it looks like the Combrei healers are out for the Valkyrie Enforcers. Like, that's a straight swap. Then you've just got to find a way to work in these decays and the extra protect. Like, what do you trim down? The Martial Iron Thorn seems really nice in this matchup. Maybe you can trim a Vodacon or something else I'm missing out on that's kind of just filler and not that great in this matchup. The Desert Marshals are a nice utility, but ultimately not that good. There's not a whole lot you want to silence from your opponent's end other than a couple of their flyers. So I could see maybe trimming that down to 2 instead of 3. And yeah, that's where he's hovering right now.
Yeah, we have
just go
channel the Tempest in. Again, the slower high impact stuff. The protects are actually coming out on ECV's side, which means that less defense for his Mystic Ascendants, but at the same time, there's only 2 of those in the deck.
Yeah, so we're seeing here both players kind of finding their lanes, where Bradykin's like, all right, I'm going to go what appears to be his aggressive plan. It's not really aggressive. You cut the Marshals, but up the Vodacons, but more of just I'm going to be as threat dense as possible. I'm upping my Vodacon count. I'm upping my Valkyrie Enforcer count. I'm going to try and win this game sooner rather than later. And then ECV goes the opposite direction. Just more answers, more stalling, more removal,
more control.
Go over the top. So both players recognizing the role they need to play and sideboarding appropriately.
Yeah, looks like we are going to have a pretty good matchup here. Seat of Order and Justice for ECV means he has to throw that hand back. No time in there. And that means Amber Acolyte can't fix the problem. So unfortunately has to toss it. Bradykin throws a 2-power hand and gets back another 2-power hand, but one with Voice of the Speaker, which could potentially fix his issues.
Yeah, Voice of the Speaker with double Valk Enforcer. So if he finds that Justice Source could really get off to an aggressive start, and Seek Power counts as that Justice Source. Maybe not quite when you want it, but we'll see where this goes. Meanwhile, ECV not really stuck on power. It's got that Talir's Favored, which means the Temple Scribe will be unlocked next turn, and double Harsh Rule. So as long as he doesn't get too stuck on power here, should be able to recover on this board.
Bradykin draws the Echo Power, so already in pretty good shape. He can seek for another Echo Power. I think he just got an immense amount of card advantage out of Voice of the Speaker here. Like, he's now going to be pretty firmly ahead of ECV in terms of card draw, as long as he just draws gas.
Yeah, the sigils aren't necessarily, spells. They can turn into spells once you find your Mystic Ascendants or whatever, but still it means he's going to be not missing power drops anytime soon this game. It looks like ECV's also just drew more power. So yeah, ECV's got his 5th power, knows he's going to curve into Harsh Rule here. Looks like he's going to use Seek to guarantee he can cast Harsh Rule next turn.
Yep, looking pretty okay. We have Seed of Progress, another Echo card. Bradykin's definitely holding on to enough power here to be pretty happy about his overall life. He's got the second Seek power here, so that's just it's a decent amount of card advantage.
I would have thought about holding on to that Seek power. You're already on 7 sources, and Seek powers can get a lot more powerful if you just wait to draw one of your Vodacons, which you went up to 4 copies of, if I looked at it correctly. So I don't really like using Seek power there just to get an Echo.
Yeah,
I think it would have saved.
Pretty win more, but also he doesn't have that Vodacon combo now, so it is a little bit trickier.
Yeah, again, I don't think it is win more. It's just you play Vodacon on 8 and then immediately Seek and you draw a card. It's the same thing as Mystic Ascendant essentially at that point. You actually guarantee value out of your Vodacon.
Yeah, and you can draw more than one card, of course,
right?
Which is always effective.
Yeah, so those little plays seem like I'm nitpicking, but in a game where it's going to go long and every card counts, the fact that you could have turned that Seek power into more than just 2 sigils, but actually sigils and spells, that means something in this kind of matchup.
Event. So Combray Healer setting up. We now have a 2/8 defender to kill the Sandstorm Titan if the Sandstorm Titan decides to attack in. Bradykin looking at Enforcers and Voice of the Speakers. He could silence his own Sandstorm Titan to start pushing over the head.
Yeah, but opts to just sit back for now and doesn't really want to commit another Valkyrie Enforcer to this board. There's no reason to be in a huge rush yet, I guess.
This is another issue of roles. Bradykin's not being aggressive here. He's being very defensive. But ECV's probably the slower control deck, so I think he's just going to have answers to every Vodacon that's played.
Yep, and here again, just trotting out that Seek power means that he might not get value out of either of these Vodacons, and that's really, really bad in this matchup.
Yeah, so he does get the Protect here. That's going to defend Vodacon for at least 1 turn against Harsh Rule. But if there's another spell like a Vanquish, and ECV does have that, then it's not quite going to work.
Yep. So this is a rough spot for Bradykin. Ended up drawing a lot of power, and which can be a good thing, but not quite here. Needs to find some Mystic Ascendants and some other big hitters to get back in this one.
You're absolutely right that he should have held on to the Seek power here. It would have been pretty effective to have it. And he could have played a turn later, but gotten a lot more value. And now we've got Harsh Rule, and players aren't quite in top decks yet. But again, it's sort of run down to the wire.
Yeah, it's just ECV's got another Harsh Rule in hand still. So as nice of a draw as this Parliament is, it's going to have a pretty clean answer to it in another Harsh Rule. But then from Bradykin's standpoint, hey, my opponent's down to Harsh Rule. And yeah, ECV actually wants to still hold on to it, recognizing that his opponent just has so many haymakers. He can afford to just take 4 a turn for now and hopefully find another way out of this.
Yep, Scorpion Wasp blocks some. Voice of the Speaker set up. He's holding on to the Valkyrie Enforcer, waiting to use that silence effect on something like Mystic Ascendant. And overall, he's got a little bit of pressure, but ECV is going to be able to recover from that pretty easily. Channel the Tempest,
Channel's a great draw there. Finds another Harsh Rule. And there's another Vodacon. I would hold on to this one.
I want to play that one.
Yeah, you've still got 3 Seek power and 3 Find the Ways in your deck. I would wait, especially with a Voice of the Speaker in play that they might not mess with.
Yeah,
your opponent just drew 3 spells or 3 cards.
Yeah, well, he goes for it, so that's going to be another Harsh Rule. I understand the temptation here because Channel the Tempest is such a big pressure card. If you aren't playing units that your opponent wants to channel or deal with, then it's pretty hard to justify just sitting.
And again, we can see his opponent's hands, so that's probably influenced us on some level about these plays.
But I think Brady's seen 2 Harsh Rules already, and ECV has the remaining 2 in his hand.
He had seen 1 Vanquish, 1 Desert Marshal, and 2 Harsh Rules up to this point.
So Sandstorm Titan here, still going to be pressuring. Brady's fine to keep pressuring all of the damage here. He's still in pretty good shape as far as just pushing, but he needs to draw more haymakers than he's currently got.
And ECV finds the first Ascendant of the game between both decks, and we'll see where he goes with that. That's a pretty big way to break open this game.
Yep. Add in a Temple Scribe. He's already got a pretty commanding lead. Valkyrie Enforcer silences the Ascendant, but it's already too big for Sandstorm Titan to deal with, which means that Bradykin's on a stalled board, not a position he wants to be in.
Yeah, Bradykin's in an odd spot where he's played 3 Vodacons and drawn 0 cards off of. That is not really where you want to be when you're playing a 7-drop. So he's got a lot of work to do to catch back up. It means he's got he's still got so many super impactful top decks that it's still super anybody's game here. Like, this can go any way here depending on how these draws pan out. But it's, man, yeah, we're going to be sitting down and waiting for a bit here, I think.
Yeah, looks like we're going into a traditional Combre stall. Not a terribly common occurrence, but it happens on occasion. We have Harsh Rule available for ECV if ECV ever feels overwhelmed. Crystal and Chalice is going to be drawing him a bunch of extra cards, and at this point, ECV is actually really favored. Picking up that card was very important for him.
Oh, yeah. Bradykin needs
decay.
Yeah, something crazy here, like a Seraph into a Caria or something.
Yeah, decay to stop the bleeding would be the best thing, but at the same time, like, yeah, any sort of big unit he can play is definitely going to help. There's the Seraph. Are we going to see your call to Caria right now?
Close.
Teriax Hatchling. Yeah, you know, like they're both flyers.
And there's the Silence to clean up that Seraph.
Womp womp. Okay, so down goes the Desert Marshal. Time for Bradykin to draw another Seraph.
Yeah, and ECV is going to draw at least 3 cards this turn, if not more.
Wisdom is always the best top deck because it's just 2 top decks.
Yeah. Gets a Chalice as well still, and just draw cards forever.
Lumen Defender is going to pick him up a little bit more.
Yeah, if he wants to play that here, you could draw cards before playing Lumen Defender, but he wants to buff up the Lumen Defender instead.
Yep, gets an Amber Acolyte. Amber Acolyte picks out more power, so ECV is actually running on more power than Bradykin at this point.
And there's another Seek Power, which Bradykin will maybe actually hold on to. The problem is he's already down 3 Vodacons, and yeah, now he's checking that. He's like, time to do the math. I believe he brought in the 4th one, but that's the only reason to hold on to Seek.
Oh, yeah, I think like that point you might even just want to play it to even out your deck and try and get more Seraphs. Bradykin is like maybe your best answer, but at the same time, there's only one of them, and he's got 60, 50 cards left in his deck.
But I think the 50, 60 card point is a reason to not use it. The thing's still just not the potential upside to drawing Vodacon. Okay, now that you have 2, you can afford to use 1. Although now if you draw Vodacon, you draw 4 cards off at least. That's great. Yeah, the Seek Power is a little late to the party.
Like, I don't know. Somehow that changes the equation for me, where I'm just like, yes, that's so greedy. I've already committed this much to the greed. Sunk cost fallacy. Let's go.
Oh, yeah. No, I agree. Just the Vodacon's coming. Don't even worry about it.
Okay, so one thing that...
Think about double blocking, but then you lose so many other blockers. Yeah, this is a tough...
I'd almost ditch the Sandstorm Titan and just start pressing with your flyers. Not going to win you the game, but it could potentially work Harsh Rule.
Yeah. And ECV is going to draw another 1,000 cards.
Yep, double Chalice now. That's giving him even more draws. Bradykin needs his Voprex. Let's see here. So we've got that Bradykin's in a pretty awful situation from this point onwards. Even Seraph isn't likely to really do a lot. Maybe provoke a Harsh Rule. That would be nice.
So there's some good news and some bad news for Bradykin here. The bad news is that he's in a really bad spot here. The good news is he's up again. This is not over yet. He can hang his hat on that. And
Voice of the Speaker is actually yet another combo card. If he can pick up a Vodacon now, he can draw out most of his deck.
Yeah, Vodacon Speaker Seek is awesome. I mean, if he draws Vodacon here, he can still win the game. Amazing as that is. If he draws Vodacon here, he could still actually win the game.
I don't think he took in his Harsh Rules, so he's pretty slow on board at this point.
Yeah.
3rd Chalice coming out, and that's the game.
Yeah, that'll tie this one up 1 apiece. So yeah, Bradykin, I like the sideboard strategy. The hand didn't quite work out, and again, like that little thing where he used Seek Power at the wrong time. I don't know if it ultimately made a difference this game, but it's just the way the rest of his deck drew out. But those little things can have quite a ripple effect in this kind of matchup.
Yeah, we've got let's see here: 3 Decays, 4 Voices, 4 Temple Scribes, 3 Find the Ways. Yeah, I think that like overall this is just like the deck's looking pretty well set up. I'm not sure if Bradykin wants to make any major changes. He's got to consider Harsh Roll just as an option to reset the board when the Chalice gets out of control. But
I think you just lean on Ironthorn. Yeah, I think you just lean on Ironthorn. Like you just go, my units are bigger than theirs. They're the ones that have to reset the board. I shouldn't be the one to have to. If it gets to a point where you have to, you've already lost because that means they've activated Chalice.
Yeah.
I think you just have to look at the games where you'd want Harsh Roll and be like, well, maybe I only wanted that because I put in Harsh Roll over another threat.
Yeah, Bradykin's now looking at Great Parliament. He's looking at Temple Scribes. His early hand is looking okay. Temple Scribe gets him a little bit of fixing and potentially gets him up to 4. At that point, he can start parliamenting to put pressure on his opponent and force out some of those vanquishes that he's trying to get rid of.
ECV's got a slow hand, but a sure hand where it's got a Chalice and it's got power.
Yeah, Bradykin's probably going to hold on to Voice of the Speaker here because he can play it down and then get Seek Power to just draw extra cards. And at this stage in the game, if he's not drawing power, getting the Echoed Power is just really, really good value for him.
Yeah, I like that a lot more than trying to hope to get lucky off a Temple Scribe by using Seek Power there to get a Time Sigil. Seems a lot better. This hand wants power. Just guarantee that you get extra power by waiting on this Seek.
Yeah, he can always like even hold on to the Seek Power here, like try to actually save it, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen.
Yeah, you need it here. So you get to Seek for a Time Sigil, play a Temple Scribe, and then next turn.
But if he had like actually had the opportunity to draw a power, then that would have worked out okay for him. All right, there you go. 2 extra cards advantage.
Would have been better if it was a Justice Sigil. Like he only has 1 Justice Source right now, but he's just happy to get power at least for.
Yeah, it's a pretty solid setup. Great Parliament and Sandstorm Titan are both available cards. Sandstorm Titan's probably the pretty clear play since it forces out a Vanquish or a Harsh Roll.
And then ECV will play Chalice here to set up Acolyte plus Chalice.
Yeah. Oh, found a Protect. Bradykin's going to be really happy for that. He's actually getting his cards in the right order this time, which means he's going to have a better time actually setting up Vodacon. If Vodacon does come down and basically like protect, then I think that's going to be pretty crucial for him. But he's also got Mystic Ascendance. He's got a lot of things that he can play here and actually get the value. Yeah,
so he opts to open on Sandstorm Titan because he actually would rather that die than one of its Parliament flyers. It grounds your flyers. And the way you're winning this game is going in the skies, not trying to slug through the ground against all these 2 5s and 4 3s and 4 7s, I guess, when they eventually get buffed from ECV. So good sequencing there from Bradykin.
Yeah, ECV hasn't picked up a Vanquish yet, but even if he had, I don't think he'd necessarily need to do anything with it. Like, grounding flyers is actually good for him.
Find the Way gets you your depleted Justice Sources, but it means you can't play Parliament here. So I think he's going to opt to play Parliament and hold up deck. Well, no, I'm wrong. He opts to go that way instead.
All right.
Add any threats on the board this turn.
A bit of extra power, and yeah, from here he can start playing Mystic Ascendant pretty heavy, and that's good news. He definitely wants to have 7 power for the Mystic Ascendants, but he's got to wait a turn or 2.
And you could have used the second Find the Way there as well, but I think he's going to hold it with that lesson in mind from last game where it's like, hey, I've got Vodacon, so this card can be used as a can. I've already got enough power in hand.
It's interesting. Bradykin has like the more slow hand, but he's also playing against the slower deck. So he's capable of playing some really intense control strategies and maybe getting away with it. But at the same time, in order to do that, he has to sacrifice his aggression and like just sort of sit back against a Chalice deck that's accumulating even more cards than he is.
Yeah, Bradykin's not winning on a traditional beatdown anymore. He's going to win by comboing off and Martial Ironthorn clear the board, swinging all one thing. I don't think it's possible for him to win by just like metering out a threat and beating down, especially because he has his own Sandstorm Titan.
goes above 9 cards, didn't want to play anything down there. That makes sense. Parliament is more valuable to him than like even discarding a card at this point.
Right.
And like the power here doesn't actually mean too much.
Yeah. So it looks like Bradykin will start drawing cards next turn. Meanwhile, ECV's drawing cards this turn.
Yeah, he's got the 1 Vanquish, but he actually hasn't picked up the right answers to these Mystic Ascendants yet, which means that Bradykin's going to actually start running away with this game. As long as ECV doesn't pick up more Vanquishes or Harsh Rules, those Ascendants are really going to make a difference.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Combrade can ever really run away with a game, but he's at least going to start keeping up here.
Away with the game.
yeah, crawling, slowly progressing, but yeah. So
All
the
right.
Vanquish will go on the Ascendant. That'll get protected, and something will get silenced. Draw cards. This is ad nauseum, you know.
Yeah, he has the voice here, so I think he's feeling pretty good about that. I'm not actually sure if you do protect against a Desert Marshal. Okay, yeah, so we see the Vanquish. The Vanquish comes down, so the protect hits.
Yeah, you just protect this.
Or
make them use something
we're
else
just
here.
holding on. Yep. Mystic Ascendant is pretty solid. Lots of card advantage happening, but now we do see the Desert Marshal. I would have gone Desert Marshal first if I had been ECV, just to see if there was a protect. But like if I were Bradykin, I'm not actually sure if I would.
Well,
been...
the fact you can hold up Desert Marshal, so like if the next turn they play Vodacon, and you can just like Desert Marshal it on their turn, whereas Vanquish is only something you can cast on your turn, is something I think that you should take into account. I mean, a 6/6.
Bradykin hitting all of his bombs. Another Mystic Ascendant. That's probably going to force out a Harsh Rule if there is one. He's got the
just finds a Vanquish again, so takes care of that other Mystic Ascendant.
Yeah, Bradykin's waiting for 11 for Seraph most likely, but the Mystic Ascendant is again like a great card here. And ECV's still not pulling like an amazing amount of answers to that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but at the same time, ECV is under no 3/7. The ground is gummed up, and because Bradykin hasn't actually gotten the Sandstorm Titan to die yet, you know, means that his flying threats aren't an issue. Of course, that means ECV's flying threats aren't an issue either, and Bradykin at some point maybe can just kill his own Sandstorm.
No, Bradykin altered his deck to be more aggressive, but I think that in like worked against him surprisingly hard. It's really just not doing good things.
You have to think about what cards he took out though. He took out cards like Combrade.
Yeah,
didn't bring in Harshal. That's all. He made his deck slightly more aggressive, but he did that by just taking out cards that weren't good.
Yep.
Combrade Healer is just absolutely so. It doesn't mean his deck was going to be super aggressive. It just meant it was going to be something that could actually attack his opponent with certain draws, where before it couldn't. Like Valkyrie Enforcer is still a great draw here.
Yeah, picking up his first decay is almost too little too late, but it does help. It means that ECV is not going to be able to draw 2 cards a turn in most situations, and it's going to make it harder for him to find the correct answers to Mystic Ascendant, which is really important. He doesn't actually pick one up, so Brady's going to get another card draw.
Yeah. And now Brady gets to keep drawing cards every turn, gets to keep up with the Chalice, have his high threat density. Yep, more seeds.
He's at 10. He's holding on to Voice of the Speaker. Like, he just has to draw Vodacon here, and he suddenly just spirals completely out of control.
So he's got an option. He can either drop Seraph and not get to activate it right away. You could drop a Parliament if he wants to. They'll all be grounded, so it's not that good.
Yeah, the Seraph is a bit cheeky, a bit aggressive, but I think that, again, Bradykin is the more aggressive deck.
Yeah.
And also this, like, gives him a little bit more of a defense, as well as, like, I think it's just pretty nice because ECV's main card draw here that's scary is Vanquish.
Right.
And if he draws Harsh Rule, so be it. But
yeah, and it also gives him something to do on the rest of his turns now, because now he can start activating this Seraph every cards.
All right.
And
down for quite some time. He's still drawing power off of it, which isn't great, but now Seraph is being a power sink. Timekeeper. A beautiful card for this situation.
I like that.
Does not double in power and toughness anymore, it appears. Continues to be a 12/12. Oh no, never mind. It is
6 time influence.
got that +6/+6. Even
Normally,
if it
I'm
gets
an
silent.
advocate for waiting to play the power. Interesting that he chooses to discard the banners rather than the seeds, but he's still got the time sigil in hand. Whatever, doesn't matter. None of this matters. There's a Vanquish. Guess you're going to use that on the Ascendant.
The Ascendant's pretty much the only card that you can vanquish.
Yeah, you could vanquish a Timekeeper. I don't think you want to. But yeah.
Yeah, it's like Bradykin's parliaments are now getting pretty scary. So even after harsh rules, he's going to be in pretty good shape. ECV still has some ways to run away with this game with Chalice, but he's drawing a lot of power. And unlike Bradykin, he doesn't have that many good power sinks. The best one he's got is the 12/12 Parliament.
Yeah, I mean ECV's got this board full of 4 attack units, but still smaller than what's on Bradykin's end. And Protect is a card, sure.
Yeah. Now that Titan's actually doing some work on the defense.
Oh, Oathbreaker.
Hey.
That's a fun one. Hey, look at that. That's
one more card for Seraph to hit now. We got those promos in there. An 8/8 lifesteal is actually pretty solid for Brady. I think that it'll be a 9/9, of course. And from there...
Okay, he plays Parliament, but he's got a Sandstorm Titan.
Yeah, I'm not sure the Parliament actually does anything here.
And now your Protect's down. I realize it doesn't really matter that your Protect's down, but I guess a thing. Like, now I guess this silence this Seraph.
I think he was worried about like a blowout, like some sort of like crystallized type play, which I don't think ECV has. But
no,
like,
ECV has none of that on his side. All right, well, there's the Valk Enforcer for his own Sandstorm Titan, so pays off.
That's a good way to push some flyers.
Pays off. Start chunking into this 34 health.
Timekeeper's at 13. I'd almost attack with that as well, but again, he wants to stay a little bit defensive because there's so many tokens that can push on him.
Yeah, but you have an 8/8 lifesteal. Like I would have swung with a 14/14.
Fair enough. Yeah,
it would have taken out 2 units at least.
Oath's broken. I think Bradykin's in charge of this game now. ECV still hasn't drawn the...
I mean, ECV gets to play his own Parliament to match, so
yeah. So ECV could still stabilize off of a stand together, and since Bradykin's down 1 Parliament, that means that there is a series of draws that gets ECV out of this situation.
Still not swinging this 14/14. I don't know. You have so much junk on the board. I would try and clear some of it out, but again, he just gets to reload with his own Parliament here. Just has to hope ECV doesn't draw a Parliament of its own. Deal.
Temple Scribe there.
Still has all of his Vodacons still in his deck, for the record.
If ECV were taking careful note, he could probably figure out exactly how much power Bradykin has in his hand just by virtue of every single echo draw that's happened here.
Yeah, find the ways to throw things off. True. Okay, there's a Mystic Ascendant, which Bradykin doesn't have an answer. Mystic Ascendant's just a larger 2/2 at this point. any other unit would have also drawn him a card.
Yep, it is a good card for getting some value, but obviously doesn't do anything that Crystal and Chalice wouldn't, except for make yourself a unit that can actually block Sandstorm Titan. ECV is in trouble now. He's still looking for that harsh rule. He's found a Vanquish, but what do you target with that? One of the owls, most likely?
Yeah, you're just going to bank an owl. I think you do just protect this up your flying clock. Or is it still 2? Oh, it's still a 2-turn clock. All right, yeah. It's not that important. Your opponent has to draw a combo.
Only because Voda combo is the thing that just completely destroys this game after a harsh roll.
It doesn't change your clock unless they draw another Combre healer, and they've already drawn 3 of their 4 Combre healers. So
yeah, I think Bradykin's looking for like just looking for having a second wave after a harsh roll, and just as long as he's pressuring, then he's fine.
Yeah, you could consider like Seraph activation there as well, but
the Voice of the Speaker is interesting. He's already got 1 down. I'm not sure if there's any benefit to playing the second one.
There really isn't. All right, Desert Marshal gonna do it yet. He's gonna dig with with Chalice to see if he can still find a harsh rule or something instead. Combre healer takes him out of lethal range as well. Jeez.
Yeah, these are the slow games, but this is pretty fun. There's a lot of huge stuff on the board and a lot of really silly stuff happening. I think Bradykin's still just winning this handily, though.
Yeah, if I was Bradykin, I would have considered like last turn just doing Seraph activation and just holding up Protect for your Seraph.
Okay, ECV can silence something.
Yeah.
Goes for the owl, which seems reasonable. That
And
leaves
then
him
protect
like
that,
again low
so
on
you have
units.
lethal. Yeah, so he protects that, so he has lethal. That forces ECV to use Combre Healer, so his opponent doesn't have lethal.
Cool. So then from there, probably sacrifice one of the big
Sacrificing
ones.
unit. So yeah, he'll sacrifice a larger one because the other ones represent card draw.
Yep. And then he has to choose something to make bigger.
So ECV actually drew all 4 Combre Healers this game, and they were super relevant.
It's meaningful. Bradykin can't kill him now.
And Falcon Forcer doesn't do really anything here. So he's at 31, so I don't think he can die to any kind of thing. Yeah, he'll just silence a Mystic Ascendant, cut down on card draw steps, get an extra lethal flyer in play. And now ECV's got to dig for either Harsh Rule or another Parliament. Another Parliament. Although his board's full, so Parliament doesn't actually make any flyers. Oh,
he might actually. I think he's gonna play Teller here just so that he can like find a little bit of extra power. He doesn't have any more time. I was gonna say like pulling a little power out of your deck. No, okay, he does get it.
No, he had the time sigil, so he needs to find. Oh, he can't get Harsh Rule anymore. So that is game, I believe.
But not a single Harsh Rule left in sight. That is game. ECV goes down 1-2 versus Bradykins.
Bradykin takes it. So be making his way into the top 8. And depending on tiebreakers, I believe will also be being ECV as well. We'll have to see how the tiebreakers work out for him. He's certainly a favorite to get into the top 8 still.
Yep. Poor ECV didn't draw a single Harsh Rule. Bradykin had lots of answers to the Harsh Rules, but all the same, with all of those draws, it was just really, really tough for ECV to come back. So, that's a thing that'll happen. And I think overall, it looks like Bradykin did in fact walk away with his game. So
yeah, those Valkyrie forces making a huge difference as we saw. Sideboards matter. Sideboards matter, right?
Aggressive stuff. So, all right, we have 1 round left. Is that correct? And then we will be moving into the tops.
No, this was the final round.
Oh,
so we'll be moving
round 6.
Yeah, time flies when you're disconnecting half the time. So
sometimes we count lethal correctly. Sometimes we count the number of games correctly. Sometimes we do not.
yeah. Bradykin just went up 5-1. So it means 6 rounds have happened. We'll be going to the top 8 real soon. Stick around.